from last year doing their thing, running 100 metres and all that sort of stuff. And the American man here was incredibly fast. Really incredibly fast.
It's quite close, isn't it?
Harry continued to take Australia by storm. Literally. Massive thunderstorms rolling through Sydney today, causing chaos at the opening ceremony of the Invictus Games.
Meghan Markle is reportedly in crisis mode after being completely shut out of the upcoming Invictus Games, and according to palace insiders, the decision came straight from the top. King Charles and Prince William have allegedly made it crystal clear that they don't want her anywhere near the event, and veteran advocacy groups are backing them up.
Unafraid to show emotion and to talk about it. Day 4 of their Aussie tour, and Meghan and Harry hitting some of the country's most famous landmarks. First up, Surf's Up, a royal wave for Bondi.
This isn't just about one appearance being denied. This is about years of tension finally reaching a breaking point, and Meghan is reportedly scrambling to salvage what's left of her connection to the royal family. The Invictus Games were founded by Prince Harry back in 2014 as a way to honor wounded servicemen and women, giving them a platform to showcase their resilience and athletic abilities. For years, it was one of Harry's most respected projects, completely separate from the usual royal drama. But ever since Meghan entered the picture, things have changed.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle racking up loads of fans at every stop on their tour of Australia.
And now they're coming full circle as they open the Invictus Games. 1 year ago, they made their debut, remember, as a couple?
Was it just that
short? At the
wow.
Games in Toronto.
Her appearances at past games became less about the athletes and more about what she was wearing, who she was hugging, and how the cameras captured her every move. The headlines shifted from celebrating veterans to analyzing Meghan's fashion choices and public displays of affection with Harry. Now, sources close to the palace claim that royal family members have had enough. They've reportedly told organizers that Meghan's presence would overshadow the entire purpose of the Games, and they're not willing to let that happen again. Veteran groups have allegedly echoed the same concerns, with some saying privately that Meghan's involvement feels performative rather than genuine. One insider allegedly stated that when Meghan shows up, the focus inevitably shifts to her, and the athletes end up as background props in her personal narrative.
Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. Now, we haven't seen Meghan for many, many months. She hasn't been out in public. She did do a huge PR blitz last year.
According to reports, Meghan has been working behind the scenes for months, trying to secure her spot at the Games. She's allegedly reached out to high-profile friends, contacted members of the veteran community, and even tried appealing directly to certain royal family members who might have been sympathetic. But none of it worked. The decision was final, and it came from the highest levels of the royal family. King Charles and Prince William reportedly stood firm, and there was no negotiating around it.
But it's also moving on from the negativity that has really blighted the last 3.5 years of their life ever since they left the royal family. And also it's to move on from the negativity that they have produced themselves over the last year. So this is a change in policy.
This rejection has allegedly caused serious tension between Meghan and Harry. Sources from within their Montecito home claim the couple has been arguing over how to handle the situation. Meghan is reportedly furious, feeling like she's being unfairly shut out of something she's been part of for years. Harry, on the other hand, is allegedly caught in the middle, trying to balance his loyalty to his wife with the reality that his family and the veteran community don't want her there.
We're now seeing this new brand, this fun, this light, this happy Meghan, hand in hand with her loving husband, at a cause that everybody, obviously, particularly the Invictus Games with all the wounded soldiers, this is a cause that many people will have sympathy for. So putting her here front and centre,
It's a no-win situation for him, and insiders say he's visibly stressed over the entire ordeal. The timing of all this couldn't be worse for the Sussexes. They've been trying to rebuild their public image after years of scandals, tell-all interviews, and controversial Netflix projects. Meghan was reportedly planning to use the Invictus Games as a launchpad for her comeback, positioning herself as a compassionate advocate for veterans while also filming content for an upcoming Netflix documentary.
It's looking fun, no negativity, then it really does help her brand as they move her forwards to relaunch her at the end of the year. This is the most engaged that I've seen Prince Harry for many years.
The documentary was allegedly going to portray her as both a victim of royal cruelty and a champion for the underdog. But now that plan has completely fallen apart. Palace insiders claim the royal family saw right through the strategy.
It may be because Meghan's with him, but it also may be because he enjoys these kind of events. We've had grumpy Harry for so many years, okay? We've had grumpy, whingy, moany Harry. Now we have...
They knew Meghan wasn't just attending the games out of genuine interest in the veterans. She was allegedly planning to turn the event into another chapter of her personal brand, complete with cameras, interviews, and carefully staged emotional moments. The royals weren't having it. They've spent years watching Meghan and Harry dominate headlines with drama instead of duty, and they're done enabling it. One of the most telling aspects of this situation is how the veteran community itself has allegedly reacted.
The crowds are there and that the cameras are on them. This is a new version of Harry and Meghan, definitely a new version of Meghan, far more relaxed. One of the interesting elements out here is the information that's provided about the Duchess. Now,
multiple sources claim that advocacy groups and former servicemen have quietly expressed relief that Meghan won't be attending. They reportedly feel like her previous appearances were more about her than the athletes, and they don't want a repeat of that.
William and Kate out there yomping through the woods in their tweeds, sort of rubbing sticks to make fire and everything. So a really acute difference. We've all seen it before though, so it's not a new point.
One veteran allegedly said that Meghan's interactions felt rehearsed and exploitative, like she was performing compassion rather than genuinely connecting with them. That kind of feedback from the very people the games are meant to honor is damning. Harry's role in all of this is particularly tragic. The Invictus Games were his baby, the one project he could truly claim as his own legacy.
True Patriot Love National Tribute Dinner, raising money for programs to support veterans and their families.
In other words, please be true.
It was supposed to be about healing, resilience, and giving back to those who served. But over the years, Meghan's involvement slowly transformed the games into another Sussex PR opportunity. Every appearance became a spectacle, every speech overshadowed by tabloid analysis, and the athletes were reduced to extras in the Harry and Meghan show.
That spirit, the devotion to those who serve, is something that Canada embodies like no other nation.
The Duke of Sussex is in Toronto for the True Patriot Love National Tribute Dinner.
Now, with the royal family blocking Meghan's return, Harry is forced to choose between supporting his wife and protecting the integrity of the project he built. According to insiders, Harry has been trying to convince palace officials that Meghan's attendance would be low-key and respectful, but they're not buying it. They've seen this pattern too many times before. Meghan promises discretion, then shows up with cameras, publicists, and a meticulously planned media strategy.
We've worked with the Duke on numbers of times before, and it's always a thrill to have him back here.
Prince Harry, who is a veteran himself, has worked closely with the foundation, helping bring the Invictus Games to Canada and continuing his mission to support those who serve long after the uniform comes off.
The last couple of days we've seen his connection to the community. Yesterday,
the royals have allegedly told Harry that if he wants to attend the games, he's welcome. But Meghan is not. That ultimatum has reportedly left Harry feeling torn and resentful, knowing that his wife is being treated as a liability rather than an asset. The fallout from this decision goes beyond just the Invictus Games. It's a clear signal that the royal family is done accommodating Harry and Meghan's attempts to stay connected to royal events while living completely separate lives in California.
To visit both some of the Army Reserve and the Naval Reserve, and he spent time talking to them and understanding some of the tours that they've made in the past.
Tonight's event drew dignitaries, business leaders, and military representatives from across the country.
They walked away from royal duties in 2020, claiming they wanted privacy and independence, but they've spent the years since then inserting themselves into royal-adjacent spaces whenever it suits them. The palace has apparently decided that enough is enough. If Harry and Meghan want to be private citizens, then they need to actually live like private citizens, not show up at royal events whenever they need a publicity boost.
Is there anything you'd like to say at all about wearing that LA Dodgers hat last week and getting in the hot
LA
water?
Dodgers hatgate. Well, firstly, I would like to apologise to Canada for wearing it. Secondly, I was under duress. There wasn't much choice. I was invited to the LA Dodgers box or the dugout by the owner himself, so I was doing what I thought was the polite thing to do.
Prince William has reportedly been one of the strongest voices pushing for this boundary. He's allegedly told aides that he's tired of Harry and Meghan creating chaos every time they reappear in the public eye. Their surprise trips, their poorly timed announcements, and their constant media drama have made it impossible for the working royals to focus on their duties without being overshadowed.
But there was an Aussie flavour to the ceremony, with Kylie Minogue taking the stage and an Australian project director secured a win.
The Prince of Wales walking the green carpet for the crown jewel of his trip to Brazil.
William is the future king, and he's not willing to let his brother and sister-in-law continue hijacking the monarchy's narrative for their personal gain. Harry's recent trip to Canada is a perfect example of why the royals are frustrated. He flew to Toronto for a veterans event at the exact same time Prince William was in Brazil for the Earthshot Prize ceremony.
Security still tight around him.
We are very happy to have him here. It's a big honor for the city. So he's got the keys. He can do whatever he wants in the next 72 hours.
At first, Team Sussex insisted it was a coincidence, claiming the trip had been planned nearly a year in advance, and that security concerns delayed the public announcement. But palace officials reportedly disputed that story entirely, saying they were never informed of Harry's plans, and that the timing felt deliberately calculated to steal attention from William's trip.
That body language dynamic is all about, here we are. You know, they walk into the stadium to applause.
Royal aides were allegedly blindsided by the announcement, and they're now questioning whether Harry is even trying to coordinate with them anymore. He supposedly agreed years ago to share his schedule with the palace for basic logistical coordination, but according to sources, no one received any notice about the Canada trip. When palace officials tried to get answers from Team Sussex, they were met with silence. No explanations, no apologies, just more confusion and frustration.
I don't know if it's something new. I think it's for me it's an added member of the family. It's another team player as part of the bigger team, and for all of us, all we want to do is be able to.
Insiders have described the whole situation as shady and entirely on brand for the runaway royals. What makes this even more complicated is that Harry's trip wasn't inherently problematic. He was attending a veterans event, honoring servicemen and women, and doing exactly the kind of work he claims to care about. But the timing made it impossible to ignore the underlying tension between him and William.
Then, a hug. The crowd loved every second. People are also loving her $200 blue and white J.Crew coat. Meanwhile, the longtime women's advocate is reportedly getting support from a very important woman in her life, her future sister-in-law, Princess Kate.
When it comes to getting ready to be married to a prince,
whether it was intentional or not, Harry's presence in Canada drew attention away from William's environmental work in Brazil, and that kind of overlap doesn't happen by accident when you're dealing with royal schedules. Palace insiders believe Harry knew exactly what he was doing, and they're not happy about it.
Lost. By focusing on transition, guiding them through the whole system, helping them grow along the way, we will see more consistent care for the individual and more improved outcomes, probably for less money.
The rift between William and Harry has been growing for years, but this latest incident allegedly pushed things to a breaking point. The two brothers used to be incredibly close, united by their shared trauma of losing their mother and their mutual understanding of what it meant to grow up in the royal spotlight.
No. I threatened to resign over it, but here I am. So we've watched the first 3 episodes and Gogglebox style made some comments about it, and you can find those on YouTube shortly. So that way you can get a flavour of what was there.
But that bond has completely disintegrated. William represents stability, duty, and the future of the monarchy. Harry represents unpredictability, drama, and a constant need for public validation. Those two worlds can't coexist peacefully, and the palace has apparently accepted that. Sources say William has reached his limit with Harry and Meghan's antics. He's reportedly told aides that he's done giving them the benefit of the doubt, done making excuses for their behavior, and done letting them disrupt royal events with their poorly timed appearances.
Deal. I mean, Americans will understand this. We have medieval times, dinner and tournament. It was like that. Like I curtsied as though I was like...
William is focused on preparing for his future role as king, and he doesn't have the time or patience to deal with Sussex-related drama anymore. If that means permanently shutting the door on Harry's involvement in royal-adjacent spaces, including the Invictus Games, then so be it.
Pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Was that okay?
I mean, really? Never mind her and that cringe performance.
For Meghan, being blocked from the Invictus Games is reportedly a devastating blow. She's allegedly been planning her comeback for months, carefully crafting her public image and lining up media appearances to reintroduce herself as a compassionate advocate. The Invictus Games were supposed to be the centerpiece of that strategy, giving her a platform to connect with veterans, show her softer side, and remind people why they liked her in the first place.
Grandmother mocking the entire institution she devoted her life to, and he just sits there and grins like an idiot. He looked uncomfortable. He didn't look like he was on board with that, but at the end of the day, he sat there and grinned like an idiot as she pretends that, I had no idea meeting the Queen was a big deal and I had to curtsy, oh my God. And I just find the whole thing.
But now that opportunity is gone, and she's left scrambling for alternatives. The Netflix documentary that Meghan was allegedly planning to film at the Invictus Games has also reportedly hit a major snag. Without access to the event, she can't create the narrative she wanted, and Netflix is apparently less than thrilled about the situation.
Yay! Oh yay! Oh yay! It's Harry and Meghan's big day! God save Queen!
I looked this up. This thing happened, I think, in the middle of the night.
They've invested heavily in the Sussexes, expecting them to deliver high-profile content that generates buzz and attracts subscribers. But if Meghan can't even get into the events she's trying to film, then what exactly is she offering?
Standing on those same steps, perhaps her son had a thought or two about that time more than 34 years ago. There is a lot to take in from up here. When you're this close and with so few people, it's easy to see why this is one of the great wonders of the world, and the outstretched arms of the statue represent hope. But as William moves on from here in Rio to the UN Climate Change Summit tomorrow,
insiders claim Netflix executives are starting to question whether the Sussex deal was worth the investment. Meghan's reputation with the veteran community has also taken a hit. She's been accused of using veterans as props for her personal brand, showing up at events long enough to get her photo taken and then disappearing until the next PR opportunity. Some veterans have allegedly said that her concern feels manufactured, like she's playing a role rather than genuinely caring about their struggles. That kind of criticism is hard to shake, especially when it's coming from the very people she claims to support. Harry, meanwhile, is stuck in an impossible position. He built the Invictus Games from the ground up, and it's one of the few things he can still claim as his own legacy.
Just hope.
For my children particularly, knowing that the planet's going to be in a healthier, better state because of the brilliant people in this room is something that I love to tell them, when they go to bed.
One of those brilliant people, the Earthshot finalist, spoke to us a couple of days ago.
But his wife is being shut out, and he knows that attending without her will only fuel rumors that their marriage is struggling. At the same time, if he skips the games entirely to stand in solidarity with Meghan, he risks alienating the veteran community and losing his connection to the project he cares so deeply about. There's no good option for him, and insiders say he's visibly torn over the whole situation. The tension between Harry and Meghan over this issue has allegedly been intense.
Around Harry and Meghan actually winning the award, what's happened here?
So it's a mental health charity. I'm actually not going to name it because I think the reason that they are giving this award to Harry and Meghan is to get attention on themselves.
Sources claim Meghan feels betrayed, not just by the royal family, but by Harry for not fighting harder on her behalf. She reportedly believes he should have pushed back against the palace's decision, demanded that she be allowed to attend, and made it clear that they're a package deal. But Harry allegedly knows that approach wouldn't work. The palace has already made up its mind, and no amount of pushback from him is going to change it.
I think I can safely say that my guys will be disappointed. All that training that you've done as a group, you know each other, how each other works. You know when someone's grumpy without having to ask them, etc., etc. Just with, you know,
so it would break up this cohesive group at exactly the wrong time.
That disconnect has reportedly caused serious friction between them. What's particularly striking about this situation is how calculated the royal family's response has been. They're not publicly attacking Meghan or issuing statements about why she's being excluded. They're simply letting distance and silence do the work for them. No drama, no headlines, no public views. Just a quiet, firm decision that Meghan is not welcome. And there's nothing she can do about it. It's a power move that leaves her with no clear way to fight back without looking desperate or petty. Prince William and King Charles have allegedly coordinated this strategy carefully. They know that engaging with Harry and Meghan publicly only fuels the drama and gives them more attention. So instead, they're freezing them out slowly.
Back end of 2019 was the last one that I was given. The whole point of that is to have a board and a risk assessment, a separate board from RAVEC, that considers all of the facts and all the circumstances.
Letting each denied invitation and ignored request chip away at the Sussexes' relevance. It's a long game, and the palace is comfortable playing it. They know that eventually, the public will move on, and Harry and Meghan will be left without the royal connection they've been clinging to. The palace's approach is also a clear message to Harry that he can't have it both ways. He can't walk away from royal duties, move to California, sign lucrative media deals, and then expect to still be welcomed at royal events whenever it's convenient for him. The royal family is drawing boundaries, and those boundaries are non-negotiable. If Harry wants to remain part of the royal fold, he needs to commit to it fully. If he wants to be a private citizen, then he needs to accept that private citizens don't get royal access. For Meghan, this rejection is about more than just one event. It's a symbol of how far she's fallen from where she once was. When she married Harry, she was welcomed into the royal family with open arms. The public adored her, the media celebrated her, and she had a platform to make a real difference. But over the years, that goodwill evaporated. The constant drama, the tell-all interviews, the accusations against the royal family, and the perception that she was using her royal title for personal gain all took their toll. Now, she's being actively excluded from events she once attended freely, and there's no clear path back. The veteran community's alleged opposition to Meghan's presence is particularly damaging because it undermines her entire narrative. She's positioned herself as an advocate for servicemen and women, someone who genuinely cares about their struggles and wants to use her platform to help them. But if the veterans themselves don't want her there, then that narrative falls apart. It suggests that her advocacy was never about them in the first place. It was about her brand, her image, and her need for public validation. Harry's connection to the Invictus Games is deeply personal. He served in the military himself, deploying to Afghanistan twice, and he understands what it's like to come home from war and struggle to readjust to civilian life. The Invictus Games were his way of giving back, of creating something meaningful that honored the sacrifices of his fellow servicemen and women. But Meghan's involvement has allegedly tainted that legacy, turning something pure and purposeful into another Sussex PR opportunity. And now, Harry has to reckon with the fact that his wife's presence is seen as a liability rather than an asset. The broader implications of this situation are significant. It shows that the royal family is willing to take a hard line with Harry and Meghan, even if it means creating permanent rifts. It shows that the veteran community is not afraid to speak up when they feel like they're being used. And it shows that Meghan's carefully crafted comeback plan is falling apart before it even gets off the ground. She wanted the Invictus Games to be her moment to shine, to remind people why they liked her, and to reestablish herself as a compassionate public figure. Instead, she's being publicly rejected, and there's no way to spin that as a win. Harry and Meghan's relationship with the royal family has been deteriorating for years, but this feels like a turning point. The palace isn't just ignoring them or tolerating them from a distance. They're actively blocking them from events and making it clear that they're no longer part of the royal circle. That's a level of rejection that's hard to come back from, and it raises serious questions about what the future holds for the Sussexes. Can they survive without their royal connection? Can they build a brand that stands on its own? Or have they burned too many bridges? For now, Meghan is reportedly devastated. Harry is caught in the middle, and the royal family is moving forward without them. The Invictus Games will go on, the veterans will be honored, and the focus will be where it should have been all along, on the athletes and their incredible stories of resilience. Meghan's absence will likely be noticed, but according to insiders, it won't be mourned. The palace has made its decision, and there's no going back. So, what do you think? Is the royal family right to block Meghan from the Invictus Games, or are they being too harsh? And can Harry and Meghan's relationship survive this kind of public rejection? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more royal drama, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next update.